right about the boobs. Yes, the heart of the matter for me tonight is getting to read and be with Gina. And thank you so much, Peg, for having me back. It's an amazing series. Yeah, it's been out like 2 or 3 days, I'm not sure. So I win newest book tonight. It could be shittiest book too, but it's newest. That's not debatable. I'm gonna go short. I was gonna read it my suicide attempt scene, but it would probably go too long. And I thought it also lacked narrative suspense because you would know how it ended. So I'm gonna go really short, please. This is a non-linear memoir narrative. So it just jumps around a lot of years out of chronological order. And I think the only thing you need to know about this scene is the narrator, me, at a summer basketball camp only wore a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers Damn the Torpedoes t-shirt. And my friend Malcolm nicknamed me Tom Pity Patty because he had never heard of Tom Petty, and that's what he wanted to call me. He was a foot taller than me, so he got to call me whatever he wanted. But anyway, that's the only thing you need to know coming into this. Winter 1979. You're the only white kid drinking with your best friends from the Winter Basketball League, Malcolm and Terry, and a few other kids you don't know that well. Malcolm always brings red wine. You once asked him if he could get you some beer, and he laughs at you. Tom Pity Patty, beer is a very fucking white thing to drink. White people drink beer and then they sit around the next day talking about how much beer they drank. You are passing the bottle and you and Terry are sharing a Swisher Sweet, and snow is falling in soft, heavy flakes that look as big as packing peanuts. Someone complains that he'll have to shovel that fucking snow in the morning, and one of the guys says that Super John Williamson won't have to shovel his snow. Super John Williamson is a hero of all of yours. He plays for the New Jersey Nets. He's from the poorest, worst part of New Haven, and it's a famous story in local basketball circles that as a kid, Super John Williamson had to shovel snow just to help his family get enough money to eat. He was truly poor, and you feel guilty sitting around with guys like Malcolm and Terry, who are also poor, while you live 2 towns over and you're fine. Your parents are solidly middle class, and you are white, and even at 13, you know you have an enormous and unfair advantage in the world. Super John Williamson shoveled snow from the time he was 7 years old, and he knew what it felt like to go to bed hungry, and he dreamed about getting the fuck out of the shitty part of New Haven, and he did it because he was one of the greatest basketball players anyone had ever seen. Super John Williamson vowed that when he made it, he would buy his mother a house, and he would build himself a mansion, and he would never shovel snow again. And now everybody around knows that Super John Williamson signed a huge contract with the Nets, and has a mansion in New Haven that has heating coils installed under the driveway, so that when it snows, he flicks a switch, and the snow fucking melts, and he's done interviews about how he flicks that switch. And he watches the snow melt and he remembers every shovelful of snow he ever had to lift. He's the essence of cool to all of you. He's a sign of where basketball can take you. Every single one of you on these steps thinks he's going to be a pro basketball player. You and 6 million other kids are convinced he'll be one of the 300 NBA players. You're all getting a little buzzed from the wine, and someone says you should go watch the snow melt at Super John Williamson's house. 7 of you pile into Malcolm's brother's car. None of you are old enough to drive. Malcolm is the oldest at 15, but he shouldn't be driving, maybe more than any of you. He's been arrested at least twice for stealing and joyriding in strangers' cars. And with these priors, he could be arrested and locked up for even driving his brother's car. If you or Terry were driving, or any of the other guys, you'd be arrested, but it probably wouldn't mean you'd be locked up. But you can't drive, and even if you could, you'd never take this risk. You're the smallest person in the car, and so you sit on the center console between the 2 front seats, facing backward, with your ass aching the whole way. The snow starts sticking to the road on Route 95, and it's slick by the time you get to the house. You park across the street, the 7 of you spill out of the car. The snow is falling more quickly now, and you stand across the street, and all of you watch in awe as the streets and sidewalks grow thick and white with snow, and Super John Williamson's driveway sits black and wet and warm. You think you see someone look out from the inside of the house, but you can't be sure if this is memory or invention. In 3 years, Malcolm will be dead, thrown off the roof of a 6-story building in Bridgeport. Terry will be in a wheelchair, a quadriplegic from a gunshot to the neck. You are the only person who ever leaves his hometown. Even Super John Williamson will owe so much money in back taxes to the IRS. He will one day lose the glorious house you are staring at in the falling snow. Thanks so much.